What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you are having a wonderful day as always. And yes, it's that time again, guys. Time for one of my favorite series of videos, aka the World's Strongest. And today we've picked a champion that holds a special place in my heart, honestly, because there's a lot of fond memories that I have with this champion. More aptly facing this champion in live arena with the wonderful and incredible Sato. I don't know if you guys remember him, but right after live arena first came out, Sato was one of the guys that was atop the leaderboard and was always such a delight to fight. He's since left Raid, I believe, which kind of makes me sad. And, you know, to that point, who are some of your favorite creators that no longer are in the Raid ecosystem that you kind of miss? Sato is one of those guys. I just really missed playing against him. Was always such a nice dude. So in Sato's honor, today we are taking a look at the one and only Tiger King, Ragash. Ragash. This was Sato's guy, and he was probably the one who most popularized this champion in arena. So we're going to take a look at Ragash. I've put all my sweetest, best gear on him, and we're going to see if this blind tiger, technically one-eyed blind tiger, can still hang in arena today, because frankly, you just don't see the dude anymore. You saw him a lot for a while there, and then he just kind of disappeared. So let's see, can he still cook? Can he still dominate? And how much damage can he actually do? Well, we're going to find out. So let's take a look at his kit. We got the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. Hey, pretty cool that he self-buffs off the A1. Not a bad thing. Not like the best A1 of all time, but not a bad A1. Again, if you're getting a self-buff, not bad at all. Let's take a look at the A2 Fur Typhoon. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on each enemy for 2 turns before attacking. Nice. Also has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn after attacking, and books down to 3 turns for cooldown. This was, this is the ability that Ragash got really known for, I think. Putting out decreased defense before you attack somebody. I mean, this thing could smack back in the day, and then dropping a stun afterwards was always nasty. And I think a big reason why you saw Ragash kind of fall out of things initially was just polymorph, right? There was no way to deal with it. You were throwing decreased defenses up, you were throwing stuns up, and therefore Ragash, our sweet little tiger buddy, was spending most of his time as a sheep. Surprise, surprise. The same thing that happened to many champions in this game when they put polymorph into the game. They just basically became unusable in arena, at least. So we're going to see what he does with that. That's his main damage dealing ability. We've got the A3 Felid Fleetness. Should this be feline? Felid? Is that really? I don't know. Feline is what it makes me think of, but places a 25% strengthen buff and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. Nice. Self-buffing, buffs everybody. Increased speed and strength are both great buffs. Perfect veil on himself to hide himself, also a great buff. Nice, cool, chill. There's no damage associated with this, but hey, you're getting some buffs for everybody. And then we got the passive Art of Stealth. At the start of each turn, places a perfect veil buff for 1 turn on the ally with the highest attack. Inflicts 20% more damage against targets whose defense is lower than this champion's defense. This was a big part of what made him. I've got a hair in my mouth, by the way, which I think I just got out, but I'm going to leave that in there too. Why not? This is the real content creation here, but this is such like this part of the passive was also what made him so fun to use. First and foremost, the fact that he would veil if you had anybody else on the team that was a nuker that was attack based, he'd veil them. They become harder to kill, harder to target. And that was so useful for sure in live arena, keeping your other champions from receiving damage potentially, as long as it's not AoE. And then this other passive inflicts 20% more damage against targets whose defense is lower than this champion's defense. Well, this was what made him kind of the Harima killer. When someone would pick Harima for a while, almost always you'd see somebody pick Ragash if they had him as a way to try to counter. He's the right affinity, he's spirit affinity versus force. He could do a ton of damage before she ramped up her defense. So you just try to build Ragash with as much defense as possible to make sure you get that 20% more damage boost. So yeah, pretty cool passive, pretty cool champion, man. Sick design. I really wish you saw him more often in arena nowadays, but I mean, literally, I can't remember the last time I saw Ragash in a live arena battle. So it just goes to show how much has changed in the last, guess what, 2.5 years since live arena came out? Has it been 2.5 years, 3 years? I'm not sure. As for the blessing, we just got him in polymorph. Frankly, this is what I had before. Depending on how you build him, you could use polymorph, you could use lightning cage if you've got him in like stone skin or even in pinpoint. You can use heaven cast to get a little additional damage out of it since he self buffs. So a lot of different ways you could go here in terms of what you want to do, but you know, we got him in good old polymorph just because that's what I've had him in for forever. So I didn't feel like changing it and spending the resources, just to be completely honest. He's also got a defense in all battles aura. Cool, nice, not a bad thing. Let's take a look at the masteries. These are just the masteries that I had on him from years ago. I literally didn't even update it. And I think it's fun to see it how the thoughts on this have changed as well, because a big part of what people did all the time back in the day was opportunist, you know, where you would stun somebody with Kymar, you get more damage out of it. You don't see this as much anymore nowadays. Ruthless Ambush you'll see every now and again because you get more damage for the first initial hit on an enemy. So this is still valid, but a lot of times now you'll see Whirlwind of Death or you'll see Cycle of Violence to get cooldowns back or to increase speed. So either of these are 100% viable here. We've also gone Helm Smasher. This is pretty much the thing you're going to see almost all the time on anybody you're building to nuke an arena. And then I've also gone Kill Streak to up his damage. You could also go Methodical here as well. For the other side of the tree, I've actually gone Support, or I did back in the day, because I wanted to have accuracy to land those decreased defense and stun debuffs. Technically, you don't need to go Support on this champion. You could absolutely go defense. You could go Cycle of Revenge. You could go with like the counterattack Retribution. That way he's getting that self buff of increased defense on himself more frequently, potentially. So this is not necessary, but this is what I had back in the day because I wanted to make sure that he landed all of those fun debuffs. Nowadays, that might come back to bite me, frankly, because he's not, well, you're going to see, he's not in a pinpoint set, at least how I have him built currently, because I want to max his damage. So it's very possible he spends a lot of this video as a sheep as well, which would make me sad, and I think would make Sado sad if he were watching. So Sado, by the way, if by some miracle you see this video, leave me a comment down below, buddy. I miss our battles. As for the relic, we're going with Cat's Gaze. You know, this is a kind of an obvious choice here. Massive damage boost, crit damage increase. Now, funny enough, you don't get the attack boost until you actually get to level 6, or I should say the defense boost. So you're giving him attack, which doesn't help since he's a defense champion, but getting the extra crit damage and then getting a 10% ignore defense as long as someone has higher max HP, which they should since he is a defense champion. You can't really pass that up. This is level 4, so we're getting 12, 14, 16% additional ignore defense as long as the enemy has higher max HP. For the gemstones, this is literally the one I just took off my Hegemon. So these really aren't going to come into play necessarily. They will in the dragon testing. You'll see how he's built. He's definitely not built fast. So they're probably not going to come into play when it comes to, you know, the arena, at least not these two, because I don't think he's going to take a turn before anybody else does, but it's always good to know what's on there. This one certainly could, you know, 5% more damage against enemies with full HP. This is what, Foe Killer, I believe it's called. It doesn't tell me, so I can't tell you. Does it tell me now? Yes, Foe Killer, Quick Strike. They've really got it. I mean, I say this almost every video, but good Lord, they've got to work on the UI for gemstones. It really is one of the worst things they've added in terms of just actually being able to see what you're doing, let alone the cost to switch, but it's Plarium. We know it's not going to get fixed. Okay, let's go into the build, guys. We've got him in Savage. We've got him, funny enough, in Slayer just to make this work. This is an optimizer build where I just threw everything in. I said, hey, give me the strongest possible damage for what I got. So Savage works for sure. There was a build out there that had some Zeal, but Savage gear for me, surprise, surprise, the better option. So we've got crit damage, crit rate, speed. We've got triple defense with some crit damage and crit rate. Defense ascensions on a couple of these pieces. Some of these were on other nukers, so they don't have the necessarily optimal one. You know what? For this one, I'll actually switch this over. Let me burn all of these just see if we can get defense. Yes, we did. Awesome. So we'll get a little extra defense since this had defense on the. You know what? I mean, just because I'm feeling cheeky. Yep, that's why you don't do that. That's why you don't do that when you have +6. I mean, frankly, you should if you're trying to max. But we've got defense. Speed, crit rate, crit damage. We've got my favorite Divine Speed boots. So we do have a broken set here, but this is just the strongest gear that I possibly have. Defense with the defense. Ascension, crit rate, crit damage, speed, HP percentage. These are literally some of the best boots I have. Funny enough, a triple crit rate, speed and crit damage, defense percentage, chest piece here in shield of all things. So pretty funny there. And then we've got crit damage with crit damage, HP percentage, crit rate, speed, and defense percentage. I'm really lacking, interestingly enough, a lot of really good defense percentage based nuking gauntlets. So that's kind of like where my account hurts, at least in sets like Savage or Lethal, etc. So always good to know where your account needs better stuff. I need better defense gloves. Down here, we've got defense, speed. I could certainly try to switch this, but I don't want to use the resources. Then we've got crit damage with a crit damage ascension. And then we've got the piece de resistance, a blood shield ring with a quad defense roll. And it's got a max, glyph on there too, at least for now, until they introduce Faction Wars hard mode. I got there. What does it all add up to, guys? It adds up to 8,847 defense with 202 speed. This guy's a burner. He's a real burner here. And 414% crit damage. Oh, baby. Now, Ragash, a little bit hard to get some of those maximum values on because he's got a pretty low base defense. 1443 is pretty rough. So it gets pretty tough to get over that like 9,500, 10K range. There's certainly room for me to get this up if I had a little bit better glove, a little bit better things, different areas, get over 9K. But hey, the crit damage certainly ain't hurting. He's got decent HP still as well. And then he's got a little bit of accuracy. And again, this might come back to bite us in the ass in the arena because he's not in a pinpoint build. Ideally, I think the best builds for Ragash are going to be things like Pinpoint and Savage or potentially Stone Skin and Savage. But because we're going for World's Strongest and we're maxing his damage, we've just gone straight Savage here. But absolutely, if you're thinking about using him in Arena as your nuker, you're going to be looking at Pinpoint to avoid Polymorph, and you're going to be looking at potentially Stone Skin to keep him alive, and then either Lethal or Savage to let him nuke while under those things. So just keep that in mind. But overall, pretty impressive stats, and I'm stoked to get him in there and see what he can do, especially with a relic, because I've never tested him with this relic before. So without further ado, let's take him in. Let's take him into the dungeon, not into Iron Twins Fortress. Let's take him into Dragon's Lair, our favorite stage. Stage 23, Void Affinity. How many tests have I done here? So many incredible tests. Now, we're going to go ahead and use Sifi since he is a defense-based champion. We'll use our Favy. Where's our Ragash over here? Beautiful. And where is our Lydia? She's surprisingly only a 4-star Lydia. Very sad. There she is right there. I'm not going to give him the aura because I don't want to boost his damage any further, but we will just give him an extra resist. So, okay. Let's see what he can do, guys. Let's see what our Tiger King can do. Remember that documentary? Remember during COVID? Crazy time how much that popped off. All right. Decreased defense and weaken goes out. Let's go ahead. Should we just nuke right off the bat? Why not? Let's just nuke. Let's see what he's got. Show me, Big Daddy. 505, 704. Oh, yes. Now we're getting maximum boosted damage there from the fact that he went first. They hadn't taken a turn. Those gemstones are really coming into play, which is something to keep in mind. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. For someone throwing out debuffs, potentially stunning and controlling people, not bad. Not bad for an AoE. Not the strongest thing we've seen, of course, but certainly not a weak hitter either. Let's do it again. Let's go with the A1 this go around. Let's try A1ing. 292 off the first hit of the A1. Not bad at all. That's a double hitter, by the way. So 600K sounds pretty nice for me off an A1. Let's get him back around and see how he feels about nuking again. Right? This double hitter, I believe. Yes. Yes. Show me again, Mac Daddy. Show me your Tiger King power. Slow it down again one more time. 587, 604. Yeah, solid. Solid. Really good. Not incredible. Nowhere near the strongest, but solid. And again, he's throwing out debuffs. He's throwing out control. Now, of course, in Arena, very tough to get some of these debuffs out there unless you have a stripper first and foremost. So that's going to be maybe his downfall. But for an AoE nuke, not bad. For an AoE nuke, not bad at all. Granted, he's in extremely strong gear. So that's something else to keep in mind as well. All right, let's take him in. We're in Plat Arena. Where are we sitting right now? We're 208. Can't see it. Now you can. A lot of people ask me, hey, Drock, where'd you get this super cool avatar? And the answer, if anyone wonders, is Supreme Club. Guys, this could be yours if you just drop a ton of money and live in America. You could have this incredible avatar. Is it worth it? Of course. Of course. This is, I mean, come on. It's the best thing I've ever seen. So, all right, let's jump in here. Let's see what we got. We got some affinity issues. This is the other thing that's going to come into play, of course, with Ragash, as well as a lot of champions that would potentially you'd see in Arena are going to be magic affinity. And since he is spirit, he is weak to that. But we'll start up here with a good old Marius team and see what we can do here. We want to get, who do we want to put in here? My Sifi's not really built for the kind of speed necessary to do this stuff, and I don't have a lot of things to keep him alive, so this really could backfire very quickly. We definitely need to lock out at some point. Let's try this, and I guess we'll try this. We'll start with this. We'll start with locking out and hoping he stays alive, but worst case scenario, we can always revive him with Sifi. Big thing here is we just don't want him to get enfeebled, and that could certainly happen with Marius. So I guess I'll just chill and we'll do that. And luckily we have enough speed to do that. Sure, we can slow everybody down or reduce turn meter. We don't really care as much. Marius coming in hot. Now we're not going to land any of, God, you can see how slow he is. We're not going to land any of these decreased defenses here, right? With this nuke. Also with Duchess, we're going to be in trouble with the next go around, but just to see what he does damage wise, let's see. No decreased defense. Let's see how he does. He killed the Marius, didn't kill the Sifi. Couldn't quite get the Sifi down, and now he is dead from our good buddy Siegfried, who just said it's time to go to sleep, Ragash. It's time to go Betty bye-bye. It just literally sat him down. I think this is a big part of why you don't see him anymore, right? He requires the ability to land some of those debuffs to get max value. Tough. That was pretty tough. He got absolutely cooked there. Let's just see what he does on the A1. Oh, we actually could just hide. Why don't we just hide? Hey, man, they're locked out. Just hide. Hopefully, hopefully Marius doesn't get a turn and enfeeble him. Okay, nope. No, Siegfried gets a turn. Everybody dies. If I had an editor, this is where it'd be like, beep, boo. That was rough. That was rough. Let's see if we can put something together that maybe better speaks to what we're going to see here. Okay, we need to get stone skin and other stuff off, right? We need to take that stuff off. Could use Embers here. I don't know if he's built right now, though, frankly. Could use Crixia and hope she gets off of Sieg from there. Why don't we try this? Why don't we try no increased defense? Maybe try no increased defense. I still want to make sure I lock out. I could go Necrit here, actually. Why don't we try that? Where's Necrit? Okay. So this time, without increased defense, let's see what our buddy Ragash does. Again, we're facing, like, not the ideal situation with a Siegfried here. This is definitely not good. We did get the lockout. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and take down, hopefully, the Marius. Good. We had enough damage there. You love to see it. Can we drop the block active skills? Perfect. It's all coming up Ragash right now. All right, show me the damage, baby. No increase. Actually, we do get the increased defense because the A1. Hey, look at that. Damn, that really didn't kill the Sifi. Was that an aspect of Siroth trigger? I think that was aspect of Siroth, actually. I'm almost positive. Again, tough to tell sometimes, but I think our turn meter drops. I'm pretty sure that was an aspect of Siroth. Yeah, aspect of Siroth thing. Very unsatisfying when you run into Siroth, right, guys? Very unsatisfying to see Sifi live that after such an incredibly strong nuke. We annihilated the Duchess, so that's good. All right, we just kind of got to chill here. Very slow. I don't want him to go into his secondary form, so we're kind of just chilling at the moment. And I'm decreasing turn meter. This is great. Oh, no. Come on, man. Oh, no. Hold on. Let's get back around here, see if we can strip this buff quickly with our Crixia. The nuke was good, though. The nuke did well. You know what I mean? No complaints whatsoever about the nuke. Nuke definitely came through there. Boop, boop. All right, here we go. Can we strip? We get the strip. We did get the strip. Beautiful. Oof, look at that damage coming in. All right. Nuke with the A1 ally attack. This is a very old school team here, throwing out the Necrit and everything else. But there we go. No aspect to Sarath there. Down she goes. Let's try her against. Ooh, this is interesting. A Lataris Marichka team. Tough. Tough. Also, our Crixia is definitely going to die here for sure. Do we need to speed up? Not really. So we'll just chill. Oh, God, we did. Never mind. I absolutely... Hold on. Just start again. This is why turn order, not having a turn meter, we're in 2025. 6+ years in a raid. Every game that's come out since has a turn order. I went off of the turn meter bars. It looked like I would get a turn. Nope. Plarium, get your shit together, man. Like, let's just be completely honest here. There's absolutely zero reason in 2025 that we can't have a freaking turn order in this game, dude. Like, this is minimal shit. Like, honestly, it pisses me off that we even have to ask for this stuff, frankly. All right. Cool. Great. She's dead. Sure. Just do this. Do that. He's gonna magma morph me anyway. Okay, he got turned into a sheep. Everything's working. It's all working here. Yikes, this is tough. Oh no, Necrit's dead. Can we at least stun? Or we could just blast everybody. Holy shit. Whoa. I was not expecting that, I'll tell you that much. And he lived it? Oh my lord. I guess no buffs. Damn, dude. And we got the polymorph? Nice. Oh, but he's enfeebled. Shit. Oh, he still got the damage, though, even with the enfeeble. Wow. I am genuinely surprised he was able to nuke that hard on the Taurus. He obliterated him. I guess that's the advantage of decreased defense. If you can land that debuff, suddenly our boy Ragash is cooking. But this is these are hard teams to fight, right? You can just see he is definitely outclassed. Even with just only having one AoE is tough, right? He only has one AoE attack. He doesn't have an additional skill that does anything crazy. So his kit is very old school, and it really requires landing those debuffs to get value. All right, this is a horrible idea, but you know what? I can't help myself. I've got a hankering. I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more Ragash. Now, we did turn, Taurus, into a sheep. Nice. From, I believe, my Necrit, who has polymorph still. Yes. Nice. Awesome. But this is also a ton of just stone skin, so there's not really much we can do here. We're kind of just chilling. Yeah, we're kind of just chilling. All right, we did get the ally attack. Can you put her down? Aspect of Sarath trigger here. We caught it that time. Nice. All right, can we keep everybody alive? Can we kill this Marichka before the Taurus comes back? And then can we kill Nice? Again, affinity, very bad here. Very bad affinity. Necro taking a bunch of damage. All right, Marichka at least dead. That's big. Double hit, enough to kill? It was. But now we're going to run into a problem here. Because that passive from Lazarius, never mind. Forget the passive. Get the nuke. Oh, weak hit. Oh, but he switched over. And he killed everybody. And he annihilated everyone. GG's. The dream is dead. My Tiger King has fallen. God. It's, you know, it's tough. It's tough in today's arena, right, guys? There's so many champions that just hard clear some of this stuff. And Ragash was never bad, right? He was never a bad champion. In fact, he was considered to be quite good. He was never like 100% the meta, but man, talk about just getting waxed right there, right? I mean, we got absolutely pounded by Lazarius. And that's the reality. Most of these champions that are OG champions are just straight up outclassed. They can't hang in arena with pretty much, I wouldn't say all of the mythicals, but a large percentage of the mythicals are just in a different world. They're in a different realm. They're completely outclassing most of these legendaries. Now, this wasn't too bad. This is more of an old school team here, right? And there wasn't a lot of stone skin up, which was big. So that's the other thing too. It's like, can you get him against an old school team? AKA you go first, they're slower. They don't have stone skin or reaction. You cook. Tough to say. That's the thing. If you can do it, he can certainly hit hard, though not as hard as the best champions in the game, but still. Richard Pryor? Okay, why not? Richard Pryor? Loved Richard Pryor. Loved Richard Pryor. Now, this should be interesting. Full lockout. Nice. Can we kill? We can. Beautiful. Oh, no. Already switched over. Well, that's not what we wanted. Damn, there's a lot of people putting champions. All right, we brought that out. That's big. Oh, my God. Did we not lock him out? Did I miss that? Did we not? Hold on. Did we not lock him out? I guess not. Or did he just get his turn back? I honestly didn't see. Let's try it again. I thought we locked him out. Maybe not. Hold on. We definitely got the cooldown this time. Okay, can still kill there. No point in doing anything right now. Yeah, just chill for the moment. See if we can just land. I was going to say block active skills, but Galathier strips everything. Yeah, okay. I was hoping I could kill him there. Whew. The cat is not messing around. Now we're in trouble. Now we got him feeble up. Everything's looking rough. Ay. Now, granted, if I were building this champion where I was going to use him in arena, right? I'm not doing max damage. He certainly would be faster, right? There's no doubt about it. He would be significantly faster. But still, if you can't get stone skin off, if you can't do those things, what are you going to do? You're kind of just at the other team's mercy. Story of RaidShadowLegends, right? Let's try another team here. We'll try another cat. See how we do there. Only a little bit of stone skin off this one. Can we kill Armands before he kills us? Weak hit. It's not a good affinity. Pain. Let's make sure we take our turn. All right, this time around. Did we break that stone skin? It certainly looked like we did there. We were able to nuke, didn't get a weak hit, landed the debuffs. There wasn't stone skin up there to prevent it. And now suddenly we're cooking. Now, we just refreshed everything, which is why we get this back, but that's one of the problems with Ragash. You just have one AoE. You've only got one skill that does damage. You've got your A1, you've got your one damage dealing skill, and then you've got your ability to hide a little bit. Kit-wise, just tough. Just a little tough. Let's see. One more team here. Let's try another one. No. What else is going to be fun? Try another Galathier team? Why not? Now, again, this is reset day, so this is certainly going to be stronger defenses overall versus what you might normally see. Like, everyone is practicing or about to do the reset action. Can I kill the Odin? Oh, fucking Aspect to Seraph, man, dude. This thing is literally everywhere, guys. It is crazy, dude. Crazy, because you have absolutely no idea. There's no way for you to know. You know what I mean? Oh, my Lord. Everybody got blasted. Lazarius just in a different world, man. He's in his different world. Still managed to get it done, though. Still managed to get it done. Necro kept us alive. And we were able to lock out, thankfully, the Galathier. Fun champion, right? Ragash, such a fun throwback, fun champion, but it's just... There are just so many champions nowadays that just are frankly better. His damage is good, not great. His utility is good, not great. And unfortunately, that just doesn't fly anymore. You know what I mean? Because there are so many mythicals and even some legendaries, frankly. Quite a few legendaries that just are better. They're just better. Makes me sad. Makes me sad. Makes me pine for a different Raid Shadow Legends. A Raid Shadow Legends that no longer exists. A Raid Shadow Legends that, frankly, I fell in love with. The one that got me to spend all this insane money on this game. And just, you know, some of these champions, I guess that's the nature of power creep, right? That's just the way the game works. The way all these games work is that over time, the champions that you got that may have once been the cream of the crop, this is the team to beat us. You know, they're no longer the ones that get it done. Let's see. What else could we use? I could maybe try an Embers team. See if this works. Forget the lockout. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough. That might be the one thing that kind of dooms us here. I don't even know if Embers built. I honestly can't remember. Looks like he is. Okay, nice. Get the extra turn. All right, we stripped the stone skin, but sadly we're not fast enough to get the rest of it. Let's see if we can just take him out with the A1. Hey, we got the A1 to work. We'll take that. And nobody is locked out here, which is tough. And we do have the True Fears. That's a wand proc right there. We're wanding. Hard wand. Can I just kill him? Oh, so close. So close. But hey, looks like we're going to be okay. Granted, speed-wise... Oh, maybe not. Never mind. Hold on. I spoke too soon. Hold tight, because we're not going to get back to our nuke here. Oh, no. Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. He's too slow. Oh, this isn't good. No, not like this, Armands. Not like this. All right, please hit this. Please land it. There we go. We didn't get weak hits. Let's go. All right, here are my thoughts, guys. Can you make this champion work? Of course you can. You know, he absolutely does enough damage as a champion by himself that he is still valid in arena with the right gear. Is he outclassed? Yes, he certainly is. Yes, he certainly is outclassed, but he can still put up really solid damage, really good damage overall. I think the biggest thing for him nowadays is just, you know, only one AoE. Would love for him to have another skill in here or something else to be more useful nowadays. And then, again, the affinity and not the best for the current meta in arena, but that could change as they introduce more like god tier force champions. Yeah, you know, fun to like revisit a champion like this that was a big part of what people did as counters to a champion like Harima that we saw all the time, because this was the guy. If you were facing a Harima and you happen to have a strong Ragash, you were picking yourself a Ragash. So this is the niche that he filled. So if you are someone in the mid game, low spender, not ultra end game Kraken whale, is Ragash good? Absolutely. He's still going to serve you 100% well. He's still a valid way to counter Harima. It's just that nowadays in high-end arena, you don't see Harima very often. You don't see her as often as you did, funny enough, for as good of a champion as she still is. And you certainly don't see this guy. And that is a bummer, because I still, you know, love the character design, still really love the character overall, even though I think he does need a little bit of love here. A little bit of love with some of those skills right here to give him more I guess, validity as an end game potential nuker. But Power creep comes for us all, guys. You know, there are very, very, very few legendaries that have been around for a long time that are still considered top tier. Frankly, this is one of the few out there, you know what I mean? Legendaries that were top tier damage dealers, you know, for 4 or 5 years that are still top tier damage dealers. And unfortunately for Ragash, he just isn't quite in that category, though, again, usable depending on what you're facing. So hope you guys enjoyed the showcase. Let me know what you guys think of Ragash down below. You know, do you still love this champion? Do you think maybe he needs a little bit of a skill change? Do you think he's great as he is? Do you see him in your level of arena more often than I see him in mine? Would love to hear what you guys think about him, but I guess I'll just end this by saying, you know, some of the best parts of Raid for me, some of the parts of this game that I've enjoyed the most are some of those battles and those connections that I made over the year. And for me, Ragash will always be that fun, enjoyable connection and relationship that I got to have and battles I got to have with Shadow. And so there's a bit of nostalgia for me with this character that means it will always have a kind of a soft spot in my heart. You know what I mean? Like as I was on the come up as a creator and doing more live arena, it was always a big treat to get to go against Shadow, whether I beat him or whether he beat me. So yeah, for me, there's that emotional connection with this character, and maybe there's an emotional connection for you with a character. That's, you know, that's another thing I'd love to hear in the comments down below, or just read them. If there's a character in this game that makes you, you know, makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, you know, I'd love to hear those memories, because at this point, a lot of us have been playing Raid for, God, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years in some case. We're coming up on 5 years for me. You know, this will be my 5th year. We're at just over 4 at the moment, so I'm going on to my 5th year. But pretty crazy stuff. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed seeing Ragash at his absolute maximum potential. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have a wonderful day, guys. I'll catch y'all later. Big Papa Drock.